Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to break down the science and dispel some of the massive myths surrounding attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder. I am so excited to guide you through this because we're really going to dig into the data and see how this condition actually operates in the real world. Let's get started.
So let's kick things off with a question that directly challenges the classic, honestly outdated stereotype. Is ADHD just a childhood phase for hyperactive little boys? For decades, the popular image was just a young kid who couldn't sit still in class. But the source material we're looking at today tells a vastly different and honestly far more complex story.
Here is our roadmap for the explainer. We're going to cover the 3 types of ADHD, how it looks across the lifespan, the gender gap, causes and daily impacts, and finally, diagnosis and treatment options.
Section 1. The 3 types of ADHD.
First off, what exactly is it? Well, clinically speaking, ADHD is firmly established as a neurodevelopmental condition. It's absolutely crucial to get this. We're talking about physical differences in the brain's biology, not just a behavioral choice or a lack of willpower. It deeply impacts executive functioning. Think of executive functioning like the brain's management system. When that's affected, it becomes incredibly difficult to self-regulate, focus, impulses, and even emotional responses.
And ADHD isn't just a one-size-fits-all diagnosis. It actually falls strictly into 3 distinct presentations based on symptom patterns. First, there's predominantly inattentive. This is where people struggle to sustain attention, they frequently lose things, and might avoid tasks taking prolonged mental effort. Then there's predominantly hyperactive-impulsive. That's the restless energy, the fidgeting, blurting out answers, feeling impatient, and finally the combined type, which, as the name suggests, features a significant mix of both. It's a highly individualized disorder.
Moving right along to Section 2. ADHD across the lifespan.
Okay, get a load of this number. 3 in 4. That is the staggering proportion of kids diagnosed with ADHD who will still have symptoms as adults. Seriously, for the longest time, people just assumed puberty somehow magically cured ADHD, but the data unequivocally shows us that for the vast majority, it's absolutely a lifelong condition.
But it does change as we age. To get a diagnosis in childhood, medical professionals look for at least 6 symptoms, usually showing up as external physical hyperactivity. Think inappropriate climbing, running around, behavioral issues in school. But adults actually require fewer symptoms for a diagnosis, just 5. And here's the kicker: the presentation often morphs. The hyperactivity goes from outward physical movement to internal restlessness. In adults, it often looks like chronic procrastination, terrible time management, and strained relationships. It literally moves from the body into the brain.
Section 3. The gender gap in ADHD.
Now, this brings us to a massive hidden demographic, perfectly highlighting why those old stereotypes fail. Boys typically exhibit externalizing, disruptive behaviors. They're the ones visibly bouncing off the walls. Girls, on the other hand, often show internalizing, inattentive symptoms. They might be described as spacey, forgetful, or easily overwhelmed. They aren't necessarily disrupting the classroom, but they are absolutely struggling to keep their focus.
And because of that subtle difference, girls are often completely overlooked or misdiagnosed. This means women can go decades, literally decades, without the validation and help they need. Inattention just isn't as loud or annoying to teachers and parents, right? Plus, societal expectations force a lot of girls to develop intense coping skills that mask their symptoms. Sadly, the source material notes that when they do finally seek help, they're frequently misdiagnosed with anxiety or depression first, missing the underlying ADHD entirely.
Let's dive into Section 4. Causes and daily impacts.
So, what actually causes it? Well, there's no single smoking gun, but genetics, brain biology, and specific environmental factors all play huge roles. It's highly heritable, meaning if a parent has it, a child is much more likely to have it too. There are physical differences in brain anatomy, and interestingly, environmental factors are in the mix as well, like exposure to toxins such as lead, premature birth, low birth weight, or maternal smoking and drinking during pregnancy. All of these increase the risk.
And the daily impact is profound. Up to 70% of adults with ADHD also experience severe sleep problems. This is crucial to understand. It's not just about spacing out during a boring meeting. It's about a brain that practically refuses to power down at night. That leads to sheer exhaustion the next day, which, you guessed it, only makes the executive dysfunction so much worse.
Furthermore, ADHD rarely travels alone. It's kind of a package deal.
Conditions like anxiety, depression, learning disabilities, and even sleep apnea frequently co-occur right alongside it. It just compounds the daily challenges, and that makes getting a proper, comprehensive assessment absolutely vital, so that all of these overlapping issues can be treated effectively together.
Finally, Section 5, Diagnosis and Treatment Options.
For adults seeking a diagnosis, the process is honestly a bit of a time travel exercise. Professionals heavily rely on past reports, like digging up old-school report cards or interviewing parents to prove that these symptoms actually existed before the age of 12. Why? Because it's a developmental disorder. It doesn't just spontaneously pop up when you turn 30. You also have to demonstrate at least 5 current symptoms, and doctors must carefully rule out any other medical issues.
But here's the great news. Once diagnosed, the treatment toolkit is wonderfully robust. Medical guidelines strongly back stimulant medications, which are thoroughly researched and work by actually boosting dopamine levels in the brain to improve concentration and dial back impulsivity. If stimulants aren't a good fit, non-stimulants are a solid option. But, as they say, pills don't teach skills. That's why cognitive behavioral therapy and specialized ADHD coaching are so vital. Combining medication with structured routines and regular exercise, that's how you get the absolute best outcomes.
Now, it is important to point out that these treatments work incredibly well across all genders. However, women have a unique variable to contend with: hormonal fluctuations. Estrogen levels directly impact dopamine in the brain. Because of this, experts highly recommend that women with ADHD track their symptoms right alongside their menstrual cycles, puberty, or menopause. Those hormonal shifts can actually crank up the severity of ADHD symptoms at different points in their lives.
We're going to wrap up today with this incredibly empowering thought from the National Institute of Mental Health. It is a vital reminder that it's never too late to demystify your own brain and get the support you deserve. Whether you are 8 or 80, understanding how your mind works is the very first step toward truly thriving. So, I'll leave you with this to ponder. Are you, or is someone you care about, quietly masking struggles that simply deserve to be understood? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep asking questions.